How's it going, guys? It's Cameron with Venus Theory, and welcome back to another episode of The Sauce, the show where I talk about gear, reviews, and my own 13 herbs and spices when it comes to music production. In today's video, we're here to check out Izotope Iris 2, which is a spectral synthesizer, and I actually got this for free with a purchase I made at Plugin Boutique, and it looks like they're basically giving this away with just about any purchase, so I recommend you go buy some new plugins and get this for free. It's pretty cool, and it's a $140 value, so getting it for free is a pretty good deal. So Izotope Iris 2, I've heard a little bit about, and it has a pretty extensive library. It's like 4 gigabytes of samples or something like that, but it also allows you to import all of your own samples to make weird spectral pads and drones and creepy sound effect type stuff. It's a pretty neat way to approach synthesis, and I think I'm definitely going to be using it a lot more in my own music. I really like the way it sounds, and I really like the way it allows you to kind of get some extra mileage out of some samples and stuff that you might not have otherwise thought of. And then, from there, dumping a giant reverb onto it and throwing it into like a granular synth, it sounds absolutely excellent. It's a pretty cool thing. So let's dive in and take a look. Alrighty, so Iris 2, let's take a listen to some presets. This is a bass. Let's do a key sound, I guess. A lead sound. Sweet. Pad. This is what I think this synth was kind of made for. Dope. Rhythmic. Let's do marching bot. Sick, dude, brah. All right, so now let's go ahead and just break this down a little bit. Let's go to, I don't know, the UI is a bit weird. Okay, we're just gonna, nope. We're gonna go to new. Okay, so Iris 2 is spectral synthesis. What is this? How does it work? Let's find out. Okay, we're gonna go find a sample, inharmonic noise. So this is the original sample. Okay, so that's a noise I created. If you want to learn about creating inharmonic noise and why it's cool, let me know. I'll do a video on it. So this is now the sample loaded into Iris 2. And if I go ahead and let's just go ahead and set the pitch mode to fixed. So again, original sample and Iris 2. Same thing, just a bit quieter for some reason. Maybe they gain, I don't know. Okay, anyways, it's a bit quieter in Iris 2. Okay, so what does this actually do and what makes it special? Well, we can now take this sample, and if you know what this is, it's a spectrogram. So we could adjust the spectrum that we want to play back. And you see here in this little frequency analyzer window, you can see we're only playing back part of the spectrum now. So now let's go ahead and narrow that down. So that's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and draw like another square down here, and it's only going to cover part of the range. So I'm creating a looping sample right now. That's what those 2 vertical bars are. Sick. All right, let's use the lasso tool now because we can draw our own points freely. Sure, and then a little bloop on the high end. Okay, what's this? Sick. Okay, so this is why Iris 2, I think, is pretty neat, and I'm actually really glad I got this for free with the purchase. And honestly, having played around with it, like, just from a sound design perspective, this is probably something I would buy. It's pretty cool, and we get 4 layers, so that's really all there is to Iris 2 in terms of like what it does and what makes it special. There are a couple other spectral synths out there, and then I believe there is a Mac-only software suite that includes a spectral thing. It's called Spectral Drone Maker, and I heard about it in a Triphonic video. And unfortunately, it's Mac only, and I don't have a Mac. So anyways, let's make something with Iris 2. So you heard the presets, and I think they're decent, and it comes with a gigantic library of like add-ons that you can install, and I didn't because I'm, like, I work as a sound designer. It's my job to make sounds with stuff, and I just like experimenting with things anyway. And I have a ridiculous collection of my own sounds. So let's go ahead and grab some of my own sounds. Sure, we'll load that in, and since we have 4 layers, we could layer up a few of these. Let's grab an inharmonic noise. That'll be good, and then let's add some kind of tonal element. Let's maybe add... Oh, I guess we'll do one of the decomposition vocals. Sure. Throw that one in here, and then let's grab another vocal. I have one other pack with a couple like random vocals in it. I don't remember which one it is. Reflection, that was it. Okay, let's grab one more vocal. Sure. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just kind of set up these samples and sounds that we want to use. So these are the loop points, which we're going to go ahead and cut that back. And I think we can right click loop points to selection. Done. Okay, so now we've got that sound done. Yeah, and like this loop point always stays at the end, and I'm not sure why. Okay. Let's go and do the same thing here. Let's just select like this region. Okay. This doesn't matter because it's noise. This doesn't matter because it's noise. Okay, let's set loop points to selection. Cool, now we just need to tune these samples to each other, so let's go ahead and solo out number 1. Cool, so it automatically detects the pitch of your samples, which is actually pretty decent. So let's go ahead and set the playback to forward, backward. And we'll do this one backwards. Pitch mode, there's resample, and then there's radius RT, which is like some kind of advanced engine. It basically just preserves the speed of the sample if that's important. In this case, it's really not. Yeah, so now we've got this. Cool, and then envelope 5 here, we can see this is tied to the gain, so that's going to be our main VCA envelope here. Let's go ahead and add some release. Move the sustain up, sure. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Very dissonant. So we get a modulation tab down here, which is pretty handy. You get a virtual keyboard if you needed that, which we don't. So the modulation is pretty straightforward. So like if we wanted to tie, I suppose I don't really know. I guess we can tie the coarse tuning of this noise sample to velocity, sure. Then we just drag this to change how much. It's really straightforward. Izotope usually is a pretty good UI and very straightforward, like figure out how things work very quickly. Beyond that, we can adjust between the sample and the spectrum here. Not really much else to say about Iris, but yeah, so this is the sound. So now let's go ahead and start messing with the spectral elements of this. So let's go ahead and just kind of like basically band pass this vocal. And then this one, I kind of just want the high breathy side from. And then we can do a similar thing for the noises here. Let's go ahead and just select kind of a mid-rangey region. And then for this granular noise, I just want the top end. Pretty neat, dude. All right, master filter. We can add a filter here. Let's go ahead and maybe do macro 1 to the filter cutoff. Sure, maybe a bit of resonance. That should be good. What else could we do? Let's add the chorus. The chorus is actually pretty decent. Make it pretty slow. Should do. I don't like, though, that when you have this window open and you click here, it doesn't go away. You have to hit the X or hit the arrow. And just a big, big, big old reverb. Reverb makes everything sound better. And let's make this fairly dark. Okay, and now we've edited the spectrum of all of these samples to create something new. And now we should end up with a pretty interesting pad sound. We could open up our filter. And I believe there's a way to MIDI CC stuff in here. I'm trying to remember how I did it the other day. I kind of forgot. MIDI assign, cutoff. There we go. Okay, so now I can modulate the cutoff with my MIDI controller. My computer's freaking out a little bit there, but from here we could add like, actually let's do the Oral River reverb. I really like this one on pads. Diffusion, set the high cut to like 6.5K. Something like that should be good. Really long ass reverb. Yeah, and now we should get a really, really sick pad. So from here we could maybe drop this down an octave by setting this to like D5. Or just use the coarse tune. Probably be the smarter way to do that. Let's go ahead and do -12. Now we should have a pretty low octave sound. And this should create a really nice, big, deep pad thing. Sorry that my computer freaks out at that. I think it's just voice meter being weird. But anyways, that is Iris 2. Pretty cool stuff. And, you know, I think especially kind of like for future garagey ambient stuff, really good for making pads. It sounds excellent. And then, yeah, for just kind of the sound designy perspective of things, pretty decent modulation options here. I don't know, it would be nice to have like some kind of multi-step envelope generator. You can't really do that with the LFOs, unfortunately, but you know, it was free. I can't complain. But yeah, beyond that, for kind of the sound designy stuff, we could load in just a couple samples here. Sure. And then we could just like grab this lasso and draw some like random somethings. Sure. Why not? Chorus, a little bit of reverb. And we can create some really cool kind of like sci-fi sounds. And you know, once you get into like really, really low octaves, or really, really high octaves, you can get some pretty intensely weird sounds, and I think it's actually a pretty neat little piece of gear that, you know, like I said, if you're planning to buy some new plugins and, you know, want something like this, I would get it at Plugin Boutique because, like I said, it seems like they're giving it away with every purchase or just about any purchase. And that's pretty much Iris 2 in a nutshell. I think it's a pretty cool little thing. If you don't have a bunch of your own samples or whatever, like I said, it comes with some, I think it's like 4 gigs of samples, something like that. There's single oscillator waves here, so we could like just load in saw waves, you know, like single synth sounds, and then add let's like a granular sound, sure, and you know, turn this into whatever we want. And yeah, pretty much it. Cool. Good job, Izotope. I think this is neat. And that concludes my look at Iris 2, I suppose. Pretty cool thing. I like it. And that's it for this video, guys, so thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out this synth for yourself, like I said, it seems like they're giving it away at Plugin Boutique with just about any purchase, so you can get it for free there. Otherwise, if you watch this video at some point later after that deal ends, I highly recommend picking it up. I think it's a pretty cool synth, I think it's pretty powerful, and I think it really just has a cool application for kind of sound design purposes and really messing with audio in a pretty interesting way. So that is it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.